Today's reflection is taken from John 16, verse 17 to 33, the end of the chapter. And the setting is all important here to understand what is being said, because this is bang in the middle of one of the longest teaching spells that Jesus spent with the disciples. It follows the Passover meal in John 13 and the teaching of John 14 of my Father's house, and John 15, and it goes through to the end of John 17, where Jesus is praying. And it is widely thought that this was taking place on the Mount of Olives. The Mount of Olives is about 2 miles due east of the city of Jerusalem, where the Passover meal had taken place, and it's separated from the city by the Kidron Valley, which is referred to in John 18. And the point of the Mount of Olives that we've been to and stood on the top of it is it's a vantage point looking westwards at the city of Jerusalem, a perfect place to pray and to spend time teaching, the last time that Jesus spent with his disciples before his crucifixion the following day. And the passage is characterized by three things, I think. The first is the disciples being utterly bewildered. The second is Jesus saying that their grief would turn to joy. And the third, Jesus speaking figuratively, but promising soon to speak plainly.
Yeah. And you can see in verses 17 to 19 that the disciples really don't get it. They're asking each other what he's talking about. They're asking themselves, what is he going on about? They really just cannot grasp what he's trying to say to them. And then he goes on to compare, to warn them what's going to happen, that they're going to go through a really tough time, a really painful time of grief. And he compares it then to a woman being in labour. Well, those of us who've been in labour know that nothing anyone says to you before can prepare you for what you're going to go through. And yet, when that baby is born and you hold that child in your arms, all that pain and suffering is behind you and forgotten. And he was really trying to say to the disciples, it's going to be this awful time, and they would think that it was all over, that Jesus was dead, that there was no hope. And then the amazing joy of his resurrection.
So this theme of bewilderment is one that we have to live with too as Christians, because we're called to walk by faith. The Christian life is predominantly a life of walking by faith. We're called to obey even when we just don't get it, and even when we don't feel it's the right thing to do, such as forgiving and loving our enemies, such as giving our money away, such as trusting God through difficulty. But there is another side of this. It goes with that truth like a hand in a glove, which is seeing as believing. Some Christians think that's a wrong statement to make about us, but actually it is entirely true, because, for instance, Jesus' words meant very little at that time. But after the resurrection and after the arrival of the Holy Spirit, they saw it. And then they were able to believe it with great passion. And when things are fulfilled in our lives, we believe with greater depth and greater intensity.
Yeah. When James was 2 or 3, we were in Florida and going to cross a bridge to an island called Sanibel Island. It was a huge expanse of water, and James could not understand how we were going to get across, because in his head a bridge was a little stone construction under which lived a troll. And it was only when he saw the magnificent suspension bridge that spanned almost a mile of ocean that he understood. Some of you may have seen the Michael McIntyre sketch where he is being predicted the future in June 2019. And he's being told that he will no longer be a comedian, that he'll be a homeschooling teacher and a part-time hairdresser. And his friends will not come within 2 meters of him, certainly won't hug him, and they'll all be doing something called furlough.
But now we've seen it, we believe it. Hope that's an encouragement to you.